All right, so you've got to take your required minimum distribution from your pre-tax, your traditional IRA. Can you reinvest it into your Roth IRA? I've got that answer and more coming up. My name is Mike Bernard. I'm the host of the Wise Money Show. I'm also one of the certified financial planners right here at Korhorn Financial Group. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and smash that thumbs up button. All right, so you've got to take a required minimum distribution every single year once you turn age 72 from your pre-tax retirement accounts, from your traditional IRA. Can you reinvest that if you don't need the money? Reinvest it into your Roth IRA? Well, I hope you clicked on this video because you probably know that answer is no. But it might be yes. It's yes and no at the same time, depending on your situation. Plus, I've got a creative idea you should consider as well. So the no answer is because you're likely thinking, and I baited you into this, well, can I convert my required minimum distribution into my IRA? Can I do a Roth conversion, into my Roth IRA? Can I do a Roth conversion from my IRA into my Roth of the amount equal to my required minimum distribution? And that answer is no. You cannot convert your RMD, your required minimum distribution, from your IRA into your Roth IRA. Not allowed to do it. Can you convert above that? Yes, you can. Yep, that's no problem. But the code, the Internal Revenue Code, actually says the amount of your required minimum distribution you've got to withdraw from your IRA. You can't just take it and move it into your Roth. So that's why it would say no. We get this question a lot from folks that want to do the Roth conversion strategy once they're at or above age 72. And yes, you can do a Roth conversion, but not of your required minimum distribution. It needs to be above that, okay? So the answer is sort of no. You can't do a Roth conversion, but there's two ways to get money into a Roth IRA. You can convert it, which means transfer money from your IRA into your Roth. I already said that's a no-no when it comes to required minimum distributions. But the other way to get money into a Roth IRA is to contribute money into it. And you might say, well, wait a second. I wasn't thinking I could contribute to a Roth IRA when I'm doing RMD. Yeah, there's no requirement. If you're subject to taking a required minimum distribution, you can still contribute to a Roth IRA. No problem. There's no age limit there. The limit is twofold. Number one, you've got to have earned income, and that's where many people taking RMD are going to be disqualified. You've got to have paycheck money. You've got to be working. You've got to have self-employment income. You've got to have side hustle money that you're reporting, by the way, or paycheck money, okay? If you do, you can contribute to a Roth IRA up to the amount that you earn with a limit of $6,000. Well, it'd be $7,000 in this case because $7,000 you'd be including the catch-up. So if you're working part-time at age 72, 73, 74, something like that, and you're making over $7,000, yeah, you'd have to take your required minimum distribution out of your IRA because you're 72 or older, okay? But you could then make a contribution into your Roth IRA up to that $7,000 limit. The other eligibility item that you need to be aware of is your income needs to be below certain thresholds, okay? Depending on whether you're filing a single tax return or married filing jointly tax return, the total amount of adjusted gross income has to be below a certain amount. Call it $200,000, okay? And I'm approximating for married filing jointly. As long as your total income's below that level, and again, you meet that earnings threshold, sure, you can contribute. You could take your required minimum distribution and still contribute to a Roth IRA. Quick side note here, if you're married filing separately, basically your adjusted gross income needs to be $10,000 or less in order to be able to do this. And there's no way you're taking a required minimum distribution and have earned income and have your AGI be below $10,000. So if you are married filing separately, it's very difficult to be able to contribute to a Roth anyway, whether you're 72 or older or not. So the answer to can I take my required minimum distribution and the amount that I don't need reinvest it into my Roth? The answer is no. You can't do a Roth conversion with those dollars, but yes, if you're eligible to contribute to a Roth IRA anyway. All right, now that doesn't apply to a lot of people, but interesting question. What about a more creative way to get money, to get your required minimum distribution into a Roth IRA? Why? Because we love the Roth. That money that goes into the Roth IRA doesn't give you a tax benefit right now. There's no tax deduction, but it's invested tax shelter, so all the interest, dividends, capital gains, that's all sheltered in there. And then all of the growth, when you pull it out, comes out tax-free as long as you are age 59 and a half and have held a Roth IRA for 5 years. So how about this? Once you turn age 72, you have to take a required minimum distribution. You have to, from your IRA. There's no question. There's no way around it. I mean, there's some creative strategies to manage it, but it is what it is. However, if you don't need this money, if you're looking to reinvest it, maybe you've done comprehensive financial planning with your CFP and you've taken a look and said, yeah, I don't see how we're going to spend all of this money in our lifetime. And this RMD that we're forced to take out, we don't need it. Well, could you gift some of that required minimum distribution to your child, your son or your daughter, and have them use that money to max out their Roth IRA? Okay? Once you gift it to them, you don't have control. I mean, that wouldn't be a gift, that'd be a wage, right? So you don't have control, but you could work with them and, I mean, even set up a Roth IRA at the same account that you've got your IRA at, withdraw the money, and then put it right in there and help encourage them, right, to keep that money in there. That'd be a way of not only reinvesting a required minimum distribution out of your IRA into a Roth, but give it the ability to grow tax-free even more because it would be growing tax-free over your child's lifetime, which, because they're your child, is going to be longer than yours, right? So that is a creative idea. Going a step further, depending on your age, but again, we're talking about your required minimum distribution. So at 72, it's possible you've got grandkids. It's possible those grandkids are starting their first job, maybe while they're in high school, college, something like that, or maybe they're graduating. What a blessing it would be if it fits within your entire financial life and you are motivated to do this. Take some of your required minimum distribution and help fund their Roth IRA. Now, you don't want to do this to cut off their own their own drive to manage their finances. So you don't want to do this for them by saying, hey, you don't need to do this on your own, I'll take care of you. But instead, you could do this in a way that helps encourage them to start investing. And because this would be a grandchild, these dollars would be growing tax-free, tax-sheltered for a much longer time period. Got to be careful with gifts, right? There's you don't have control over those dollars anymore. They'd be in their name. And like I already mentioned, you don't want to make this gift and diminish their drive towards making great financial decisions. But there's two ways of looking at that. When I received a gift when I was in 7th grade of $500, and my grandfather encouraged me, you should open up a CD, and I did, and I was hooked. I was hooked, not because it was paying so much interest, but just the idea that my money could earn money for me. I was absolutely infatuated by that. And maybe this gift to your son or your son or daughter or your grandchildren could spur that on as well and create an upward spiral of their decision making with their finances. So the big idea, can you reinvest your required minimum distribution into a Roth IRA? You can't do a Roth conversion. If you're eligible to contribute to a Roth, you would be able to still fund a Roth IRA, maybe even help your son, daughter, or grandkids fund a Roth IRA as well. All of that needs to be considered as part of your overall financial plan, looked at through all 6 areas of your financial life. My financial life, everyone has 6 financial areas to their financial life. And so you work with your certified financial planner who's doing comprehensive financial planning, see what makes the most sense. If you don't have a CFP on your team, you can contact one on my team. Find us online, korhorn.com. That's Korhorn with a K, wisemoneyshow.com. You can find us there as well, or give us a call, 574-247-5898. All right, there you have it. Go out and take your next wise step in your financial life.